Hello, Paul Chuck here from CIOKS. Today we are going to talk about how to power some of these new toys from line 6. And we've got here the HX Stomp, we've got the new pod, and we've got the Firehawk. And unfortunately the effects I didn't bring here, I don't have it, but I did some measurement on it, so it will be included in this video. With all these guys here, you get the line 6 original DC3G power supply. It's an adapter, it's a wall rod type adapter where you can change this thing, which is another adapter. So the original thing which is on it is the US style plug, and then you can attach it to the European, Australian or UK type, whatever you want, wherever you are in the world. The thing with this one is that it's not super bulky, but the way these are configured makes it maybe hard to fit on your power strip. So I have two power strips here. These are European style, and you see these are different because the holes are aligned this way, and on this way they are aligned this way. And if you want to have it under your pedal board or wherever you want it, I just put this one in, this adapter. You see that this is going to be difficult to fit under the pedal board, and the same goes here. So this thing it's not very practical. So anyway, and most of you would like to get rid of most of these things and power the whole setup you have with just one single power supply. If we look at the specifications of this adapter, it's a 9-volt thing, and it's able to put out 3 amp at maximum. But what about the actual current draw of these units? Maybe it's lower, maybe you don't need 3 amps. And this is what we're going to find out by measuring the actual current draw of all these units. I also brought this one here, which is the M9. It's an old unit, I don't know, 8 years. The original adapter for it is a very bulky inline adapter of the AC type, so it's putting alternate current out. But actually this one can be powered with DC voltage as well, so we will include this one in this video as well. The first box I'd like to measure the current draw of is the HX Stomp. This is the smallest one, and most probably this is the one which will find place on the pedal boards alongside with other pedals. While some people might want to have the effects or the pod just on its own with no additional things. So this is very important to figure out how to power this with a standard power supply for pedals. I've got here the new DC7 from CIOKS, from us, and this is the most powerful unit we have so far. It's a fully switch mode thing. It's 1 inch tall, and it's got 7 outlets which each can put out 660 milliamps at 9 volts. So combining 2 of these outlets gives you just below 1.3 amp. The question is whether this is enough to power this thing. Now, I should maybe mention something about the polarity and size of the plug on this adapter. The thing is that this is the normal Boss polarity, which is the positive on the outside, and it's center negative, so the same as Boss. But it's got the bigger pin inside, the 2.5 millimeters. So in case of CIOKS standards, this is the type 3 yellow flex cable that corresponds to this standard. And if you want to replace the original adapter and power it of our units, you need to use the yellow flex cable. I already know the numbers because I've done the measurements before, and I know that one outlet of DC7 is not sufficient to power the stump. So I'm using 2 outlets and making a parallel connection with the parallel adapter flags, the sand gray one. And then I'm going through a multimeter, which is going to measure the current. And then I use this yellow flex cable to power the HX Stomp. So the yellow flex cable goes into the DC inlet, and we've got a switch here to power this thing on. I start with powering my 0 amps because it turned off, and now I'm turning it on. And you see initially the current is around just above 600 milliamps because those buttons are now lit. And after this initial startup procedure is finished, you'll see that the whole thing will light up, and this will increase the current draw, and we have like 850. And now, I mean, it doesn't really matter what you're playing and what kind of algorithm is being used. It's more about how much light there is on the whole thing, and that determines the current draw. And you see at no point it's exceeding 900 milliamps. And you see these two LEDs are on, and it's powered perfectly fine with 2 outlets of the DC7. So there you go, yellow flex cable, 2 outlets using the parallel connection with the parallel adapter flex, and around 900 milliamps, which is pretty much below the maximum of 2 outlets combined. So now I have rearranged a little bit on my table here. The HX Stomp is right here, and now we have the Firehawk FX set up to be measured. Again, the yellow flex cable, the parallel adapter flex, 2 outlets, the multimeter in the amp setting, and this one got a power switch as well, so I'm powering it up now. And you see the current is around 400 milliamps, rises a little bit. Then we've got light on everything, and we are up around just below 800 milliamps. And the thing is actually all the LEDs around this knob are lit, and you can try to do different things. And again, it's all dependent on how much light you've got on this thing. And if you look here, the current is staying below 800 milliamps. So again, 2 outlets are needed to power this one sufficiently, and there's plenty of headroom and no problem in powering the Firehawk with the DC7 and using 2 outlets. So if you have a pedal board where you have this one alongside some other pedals, this is an ideal solution. And it's just £1, so remember. An important remark about these boxes I've got here is that on the box itself, not on the pedal, on the unit, it says 9 volt DC, it tells you the polarity, and on this one it says 3 amps. And this is actually corresponding to the ability of this adapter, but the actual current draw of this guy is 900 milliamps maximum. And the same goes for the pod, where the current stated on the unit is 2.5 amp. On the Firehawk, it's also 2.5 amp. And if you just look at those figures and try to power it aiming for these 2.5 amp or 3 amps, well, you would tend to use this one or a very, very big power supply where actually you can do with much less. Again, we have rearranged the units here on the table, and we've got the Line 6 pod HD 500X. And this is the yellow flex cable connected to the DC7 power supply. We are using 2 outlets again, and this one has got no power switch, so I'm plugging the yellow plug in and it should turn on. And you can see the current is around 600-700 milliamps. It jumps up to just below 1 amp, and then it goes above 1 amp, but stays below 1.1 amp, which corresponds to 1100 milliamps. And we can push some buttons here and monitor the current, and you can see that the current is actually staying just around 1 amp, just above 1 amp. Again here, you can look below and it says power requirements, 9 volt DC, 2.5 amp minimum. And I don't know where they get this figure from, because as it is here, it's drawing just above 1 amp. Okay, here we've got the part, and I've connected it to the additional foot control, which is called FBV3. And that one is now phantom powered of this unit. And you can see that the current has added additional 200 milliamps to the current draw of this unit. Now we are just on the edge of the maximum ability of 2 outlets, and I assume that if you put light to all these buttons, it might exceed the maximum current rating of 2 outlets of DC7. And if you wish to power this combo with DC7, you might need to make a parallel connection of 3 outlets to make this work. I haven't read the manual, so I don't know how to put light on this. And I also doubt that people will use this combo maybe alongside some other pedals on just one pedal board, because it would be one huge pedal board, I guess. So, but additional information, this one phantom powered of this one, the current stays below 1.3 amps. Okay, I didn't have the HX FX in-house on the day we make this movie, but I do have a clip from another location where I measured the current draw of HX FX. I'm turning it on, and you can see that the current at startup is around 700 milliamps. And then while all the displays are coming up, it rises and goes up to around 1 amp, which is 1000 milliamps. And when I'm trying to push all the buttons here and changing the settings, I still stay around 1 amp, where 2 of the outlets of DC7 is enough to power the HX FX. So I promised also to do some measurements on the old M9 stump box modeler. And for this I will use the green flex cable, which is the same size as the yellow, but much widely available, because this one is used in all eventides. And I have removed the parallel flex cable because I know that this one would be able to be powered by just a single outlet. I have set the voltage to 12 volt DC. You can see the setting of the small switches should be that the left one is turning up and the right one is downwards. This is what I've done. The LED is slightly brighter than the others. We are going through the amp meter, and again I'm powering the M9 with 12 volt DC. And you can see that the current at the initial startup was around 300 milliamps, and now we have it at 500 something. If we try to do some stuff here, try to put some buttons, push some buttons, it stays around 500 milliamps. And at 12 volt DC, this is just on the edge. This is just what this one is capable of. So I would say that 1 outlet is sufficient to power the M9 when you have the DC7. So hopefully I have shown you how to measure the current of these new Line 6 boxes, and also shown how to power these of our new DC7 power supply. Thanks for now, and see you soon.